I want to walk you through a Works Cited page today. This can be used to a lot of different levels, but we're going to try to keep it as basic as possible because in our class we don't necessarily need something extra special or extra tricky. So a Works Cited page is just part of an essay, part of a writing where you give the full information of what sources you used. So typically we can break that down into 3 chunks. You can have your author, your title, and then your publication information. So with that being like said, obviously there's more to it. I'm going to show you a couple of different options that could work. But the most people will normally use a web page or a website. To get it started, you need your font to be in Times New Roman 12-point font. If it's not already, you can go ahead and put it in double spacing. I am going to hit clear formatting because there's some tricks I want to show you. So we're going to start with just the Times New Roman 12-point font. You'll center a line, and if you're going to do more than one source, you put Works Cited. If you're going to just use one source, you're going to put Work Cited. So from there, we're going to go back to the left. And as I told you, the general format in MLA is author, title, and publication information. Now, that last part is going to change based off what type you're using. So I'm going to, again, give you more, but that's just like the basic information we should see on each entry. So if you're using a web page, which like I said is the most common, especially in this class, to be used, you would have the author. You're going to put the title. Let me zoom in a little bit. There we go. That seems better. Title of web page. We're going to do the title of the website. Notice that's italicized. If the publisher is different than the website title, and I'll show what I mean in a second, you would put that there. You're going to put the published date, so when was it published or updated, and then the URL link. So that's if we're doing a web page. So let's pull up a web page. So let's think about the New York Times. Let's go to something to do with science. That sounds exciting. Okay, so if this was the article I wanted to use, then I would just go from here. Give me 1 second. I wasn't logged in. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I've got my article. I've got my author. There's my date, and I can read it. And I'm like, oh, yep, this is exactly what I need for whatever report I'm doing. And again, I'm just scrolling to show you that sometimes information is found at the bottom. Let me grab this and pull it. Okay, so and then at the bottom, I can see where the copyright is. So since I have my web page and I've read it, I know it's what I want. Let's go and put the information in. So this is the article title, so I'm just going to copy and paste that. Oh, I went out of order, but we'll fix it. Okay. And then we have the author is William J. Broad. So this is one thing that's a little bit different. On this page, MLA does want you to put the last name first, okay? We got this from the New York Times. I'm going to put the date. I pulled it on May 19th, 2025, excuse me. And I can pull the URL, just copy and paste that. Great. And now I just want to check my publisher. So the name of the website is the New York Times. But when we looked earlier at the bottom, it says the New York Times Company is who it's copyrighted to. So I would list that as a separate publisher because it is slightly different. So we say the New York Times Company. And that would be all the information I would need to provide on my Works Cited page. So let's go to WRL. I'm just showing you different websites, right? Let's go to sports, see what they have for us, maybe. Okay. Oh, is this a video? This one will be fun. Okay, so we can see, well, they pulled this one from somebody else. But if we're on a website like this, here we go. and I need to pull the information. Here is my article title. And again, I know I'm going out of order, but since I have my basic format, I can fix it. So there's my my title name. If I go back to this, it tells you when it was published, so we can see the May 16th, 2025. But then down here, it finally has the author. So when you're looking for information, you may have to scroll, you may have to click a lot around, and that's okay. That's part of doing research. So May 16th, and this is Brian Murphy. Murphy, comma, Brian. It's from JRL's website, but is that the same as the publisher? I don't know. So let's scroll. Typically, the publisher can be found at the bottom. And what you can't see because of my face in this ad is it is copyrighted Capital Broadcasting Company. So that's very different, unlike the New York Times, right? There we go. The 16th of May in 2025. Oops. And I just need my URL. So pretty quick to pull that information, as long as you're willing just to look around. Now, I went to 2 websites that they're newspapers, so they are pretty normal for publishing their authors' names and everything like that. But if you find one that doesn't have that information, it's okay. You might just skip it. So if I just did a quick look for welding safety equipment. Let's see. Just go with this one. So if I wanted to use industrial safety, this is just a listing, but say for some reason I wanted to cite here, I can see that down here. I have the copyright, the Industrial Safety LLC, which also is the website. So I don't have to do that once, but there's no author, there's no really good date other than this 2025 down here. So if this is the one I wanted to use, I would probably name it, what did it say was here? Personal protective equipment. All right, so I have no author. So I'm going to start with the very next thing. I skip it if there's no author. So I put personal protective equipment. We saw that it is industrial safety, which at the bottom it told us there was no good dates for that copyright date. So I'm just going to put 2025 and I put my URL and that's it. Okay. So if there's a part that you're missing, most of the time you just skip it and you go on to the next part, but you can always ask questions. The last thing I want to show you how to do for a Works Cited page is the last bit of formatting. I mentioned it at the beginning, but I want to go over it again. I mentioned at the beginning I was going to do it, but I wanted to show you at the end how we do it. So you'll select all of your text, and then you have to double space it. In Google Documents, that's going to format, line and paragraph spacing, and clicking on double. Okay. I have another document open that I'm just going to show you real quick. If you're in Microsoft Word, you can go to paragraph either by hitting this down arrow or right clicking. And again, go to spacing, you can click on double, but in Microsoft Word, there's an extra step. You have to click on this box that says don't add space between paragraphs of the same style. Otherwise, in between paragraphs, so every time you hit enter, it'll be like double and a half. So just make sure you hit that box in Microsoft Word. There it goes. Okay, and then lastly, for our Works Cited entries, you see how it's all kind of like jumbled? It's hard to tell like where one ends and one begins. To make that easier, we use something called a hanging indent. So in Google Documents, you go to Line and Indent under Format, go to Indentation Options, change it to Hanging, oops, and you put 0.5, so for 0.5 inches, and hit Apply. And so you can see now that it moves the second and third line over. So if it's on the far left, that tells us it's the start of a new entry. So I can go from broad to Murphy to personal, very easy, checking it. It's already in alphabetical order, so that made it easy for me, but you also have to confirm that this is in alphabetical order. And I just luckily was able to do that. In Word, again, you select your text that you need to do it to, go back to paragraph, and you can see under indentation, you'd hit special, hanging, it automatically does the 0.5, and you'll just hit OK. And there we go. We've got our hanging indent. And I know some of that was already done, but I just want to show you where you could find it in Word. So this can be a lot. And this was a very fast practice walkthrough, but don't hesitate to ask questions and come see me. And I've got plenty of resources and can help you anytime.